Hello, tonight I'm going to explain a correlation I drew between the rise and fall of Columbus and the rise and fall of current politicians and men in the news right now. To start off, I did some research from historians David M. Kennedy and Elizabeth Cohen, who are the authors of our textbook, The American Pageant. They refer to the accomplishment of Columbus discovering the Americas as an accident, but it was still so highly praised and celebrated. This dramatic accident forever altered the future of both the Old World and the New World, and of Africa and Asia as well. The stage was set for a cataclysmic shift in the course of history, the history not only of Europe, but of all of the world. Columbus's sensational achievement obscures the fact that he was one of the most successful failures in history. But was it a success? He did change the world forever, particularly for Europeans, Africans, and Native Americans, for better or for worse. After many, many years of celebrating Columbus Day, people began to question the morality of it all. The United States honored only two men with federal holidays bearing their names. One is Martin Luther King Jr., a man that struggled with racial prejudice but made unmatched efforts in the fight for equality of colored people. And the other holiday commemorated Christopher Columbus, who opened the Atlantic slave trade and launched one of the biggest genocides in history. The real question that we had to ask ourselves was, did Christopher Columbus's good outweigh his bad? Considering that there was another European explorer that was credited with documenting his own findings of the Americas first, it makes us wonder if we have been better off without Columbus and waiting for Giovanni Caboto to make history instead. Columbus's rise and then fall from fame is similar to the rise and fall of many politicians with the scandals of sex allegations against them that are tarnishing their reputations. Let me expand on the correlation between the rise of Columbus's fame and the rise of politicians. Columbus made a deal with a Spanish monarch that financed his trip. In exchange for his monarch's investment, Columbus had to bring back gold, spices, and other good things from Asia. However, he failed to make trades with China and Asia, so he still had to find a way to pay back his debt to his financial supporter. So, in order to pay back this debt, he used the only thing he found lots of: human lives. He captured 1,200 Indians from one island and sent them back to Spain, where they were taken as slaves, and to say they were treated poorly would be an understatement. Hundreds died during transportation and were just tossed overboard. He tore apart families of all ages. He hunted Indians for sport and profit, beating, raping, torturing, killing, and then using the Indian bodies as food for their hunting dogs. It was so cruel. Within 4 years of Columbus's arrival on Hispaniola, his men had killed or exported 1/3 of the original Indian population of 3,000 people. That's 1,000 people that he killed or exported. As you can see, Columbus neglected all morals and the interests of thousands of people to make it in history and to repay his financial supporter. Although modern politicians did not cause a genocide and start the Atlantic slave trade, there are correlations that can be drawn. Politicians will do what they can to please their biggest financial contributors. These are the people providing the funding for their campaign, so it would only make sense to keep them happiest. In nearly all cases, just the top of 0.01% of all U.S. voters provide over 40% of the funding for a political campaign. The politician many times must change their own agenda to fit to their financial contributors' agenda. As you can see, both Columbus and politicians will go against what may be morally right in order to keep their financial supporter happy. Because they do this because this will feed them the money to make it to the top and so that they can go down in history. Just as Columbus fell from fame and his reputation tarnished, many modern politicians have had the same thing happen to them. Their characters have been questioned. From October 5th of this year to December 13th of this year, there have been 43 men accused of sexual misconduct. Many of these men were well-known and highly respected men that carried their job for many, many years. However, this did not matter. All of these men either resigned from their position of power and authority or were fired. Columbus was praised for many years, but was not safe due to that either. The same applied to these politicians and men of power. Their reputations were tarnished, and they fell from power once society started questioning the morality of these long-time praised individuals.